Earlier in the section, we were shown the spherical representations of the ladder operators, and we were told that applying L plus onto L minus onto a state is going to give you this expression right here. This was not actually derived in the chapter. It was simply given to us because the actual derivation process is a little bit too involved and it would shift the focus of the chapter away from what it was actually trying to teach. So given that, now that we're done with the chapter, we can go back and actually prove this derivation for 4.24. Given that what we know of the ladder operators in spherical coordinates, applying L plus and L minus onto a function is going to give us plus first, so positive h bar e to the positive I phi d by d theta plus I cotangent of theta d by d phi. And then this is going to get multiplied onto negative h bar e to the negative I phi d by d theta subtracted by I cotangent theta d by d phi. And this is going to act on a test function f so that we don't drop terms accidentally because we miss out on hidden chain rules. First thing we're going to do is going to move the h bar out. So this is going to become negative h bar squared e to the I phi d by d theta plus I cotangent theta d by d phi. And now we have e to the negative I phi df by d theta subtracted by e to the negative I phi. Actually, let's do it. E to the negative I phi times I times cotangent theta df by d phi. Okay. Now that we're doing it this way, this is going to resolve itself into two separate terms. Term 1 is going to be, actually, let's do it this way instead. Let's write out the whole thing first, and then we'll solve it separately. Term 1 is d by d theta of e to the negative I phi df by d theta minus e to the negative I phi I cotangent theta df by d phi. And then term 2 plus I cotangent theta d by d phi of e to the negative I phi df by d theta minus e to the negative I phi I cotangent theta df by d phi. Okay, now this is going to give us term 1, and then we're going to have term 2. This is going to be kind of a long expression, so let's do them separately. First off, term 1. This is going to give you d by d theta of term 1 of the first subterm inside term 1, which is e to the negative I phi df by d theta. And this is going to give us e to the negative I phi is not going to interact with the theta derivative, so e to the negative I phi d2f by d theta squared. And then we have d by d theta of negative e to the negative I phi I cotangent theta df by d phi. And the theta isn't going to interact with anything in the front. It's only going to interact with the cotangent theta df by d phi. So that's going to come out as negative e negative I phi times I. And then the derivative, here's chain rule. So derivative of cotangent at theta, I believe that's negative cosecant squared, but let me double check because I don't remember these off the top of my head. Yeah, negative cosecant squared theta df by d phi, and then added with cotangent theta d by d theta d by d phi of f, like that. So if you then add both of these together, you're going to get e to the negative I phi is going to come out. So e to the negative I phi, and then d2f by d theta squared. Here you're going to have, let's see, negative I multiplied by negative, so that's positive I, cosecant squared theta df by d phi, and then subtracted by I cotangent theta d by d theta df by d phi. Next, doing term 2. This is also two subterms inside, so first one is going to be I cotangent theta d by d phi of e to the negative I phi df by d theta. we're going to have to invoke chain rule here. This is I cotangent theta multiplied by term 1 is going to give you negative I e to the negative I phi df by d theta. Term 2 is going to give you e to the negative I phi d by d phi df by d theta. That, and the e to the negative I phi is going to come out, so that's going to give us actually, let's just, yeah. So that's going to be what? I and I make a negative, that's a positive. So e to the negative I phi times cotangent theta, df by d theta, and then plus I cotangent theta d by d phi df by d theta. Okay. Second subterm, this is going to be I cotangent theta d by d phi, and then negative e to the negative I phi times I cotangent of theta df by d phi. Here, the I cotangent theta and the negative don't interact with the derivative with respect to phi at all, so that's going to come out. Negative I times positive I, that's positive 1, because I times I makes another negative that cancels that first negative. You get cotangent squared theta d by d phi of e to the negative I phi df with respect to phi, which then, via chain rule, cotangent squared theta, at the front, you're going to get negative I e to the negative I phi df by d phi, added with e to the negative I phi, and then d by d2f by d phi squared. Yeah. Now factor out the e to the negative I phi, and you have negative I cotangent squared theta df by d phi plus cotangent squared theta d2f by d phi squared. And now, if we add all of these terms together, right, immediately, let's see, is there anything that cancels out? So actually, I should probably add all of these together first. E to the negative I phi cotangent theta df by d theta plus I cotangent theta d by d phi d by d theta of f subtracted by I cotangent squared theta df by d phi plus cotangent squared theta d2f by d phi squared. Okay, so now you have everything in the red adding on to everything in the blue. Immediately I see this. So negative I cotangent theta d theta d phi versus positive I cotangent theta d phi d theta. Well, d by d phi and d by d theta don't interact with each other. They're commutable observables. So given that this term and this term are just going to go to 0, let's make this black to stand out from everything else. What else is going to cancel? So let's write this out in full now, because I think that's all the ones that are easy to cancel. Now I have L plus L minus is equal to negative h bar squared e to the I phi at the front. And then both of these terms pull out an e to the negative I phi. So that's actually going to cancel with e to the positive I phi. So L plus L minus is now reduced to negative h bar squared. And then everything in red added with everything in blue. So d2f by d theta squared plus I cosecant squared theta. And actually, at this point, let's get rid of the test function because we're not doing any more derivatives. I cosecant squared theta d by d phi added with cotangent theta df, no, not df, d by d theta, minus I cotangent squared theta d by d phi plus cotangent squared theta d2 by d phi squared. Okay, so I have a like term here. I have this term and this term going in to make I d by d phi. Well, actually, no. I gotta keep the order in mind. Cosecant squared theta minus cotangent squared theta d by d phi. So this is just a trig identity, right? This entire term here is just equal to 1. Cosecant squared theta minus cotangent squared theta is one trig identity. So given that, L plus L minus is now equal to negative h bar squared d2 by d theta squared plus I times d by d phi for terms 2 and 4 plus cotangent theta d by d theta plus cotangent squared theta d2 by d phi squared. Now, if I look back up here at what I'm expecting to get from the answer that was given to us earlier on, is this an exact match? D2, I flipped the cosine, that's fine. Cotangent squared, d2 by d phi squared, yeah, and then I d by d phi, yep. So this is an exact match, therefore we have solved part A. Part B, we are asked to derive the equation for L squared in spherical coordinates defined here, using the following properties that we have here for LZ and L plus minus that we defined up earlier in part A. Our hint is to use this equation, so all we basically have to do is just plug everything in and see if we can get what this is asking out. So L squared is equal to L plus L minus is given to us, so let's use that. And then plus LZ squared, which is going to be negative I h bar d by d phi squared. And then since we're doing plus minus, we have to stay on the top line of equations for plus minuses, which means it's going to be minus h bar and then LZ negative I h bar d by d phi. Plugging all the stuff in, right? This is going to give me, let's see, two negatives make a positive, two i's make a negative. So negative h bar squared d2 by d phi squared. And then this term is going to give me positive I h bar squared d by d phi. So that means that I can factor out the h bar squared for these as well. Or more specifically, a negative h bar squared. And that's going to give me negative h bar squared d2 by d theta squared plus cotangent theta d by d theta plus cotangent squared theta d2 by d phi squared plus I times d by d phi. And then we're factoring it out a negative h bar squared. So that's going to be plus d2 by d phi squared for this term. And then this term is going to become a negative. So minus I d by d phi. Okay. Immediately, convenient cancelization with these two. That leaves me with a bunch of other stuff. So for reference, I'm actually going to pull this down because I want this to work off of, or I want to eventually get to this point, right? For what I'm trying to get. So right now I have negative h bar squared d2 by d theta squared. Is there any like terms I can collect? Plus cotangent theta d by d theta. And then I have a plus 1 plus cotangent squared theta. And this is d2 by d phi squared. Close this with a bracket. And immediately, right, this should step out because we already know that cosecant squared minus cotangent squared equals 1. So 1 plus cotangent squared has to equal cosecant squared. So this is going to become cosecant squared theta d2 by d phi squared, which is just 1 over sine squared theta d2 by d phi squared. So that means that this entire backside has been solved. We just have to care about this side now. Conveniently, we solved this, or we did a very similar sort of conversion for this earlier on, right? Because this looks like just a reverse chain rule for cotangent. So first off, let's get the cotangent out of there, because cotangent is equal to d2 d theta squared plus sine over cosine is tangent, so this is cosine theta over sine theta d by d theta, which means that you can rewrite this as 1 over sine theta times sine theta d2 by d phi squared plus cosine theta d by d phi, or d by d theta, sorry, I wrote that wrong. And this is just a reverse chain rule, right? This entire thing is then equal to 1 over sine theta of the derivative d by d theta of the term sine theta d by d theta. Because if you work this in reverse, right, by chain rule, box prime times triangle, that's cosine theta d by d theta, added with triangle prime times box, that's sine theta times d2 by d theta squared, and that's exactly what this is here. So that means that this is now equal to negative h bar squared, 1 over sine theta, d by d theta of sine theta d by d theta. And then this is added with 1 over sine squared theta d2 by d phi squared, and this is exactly what we have up here. Therefore, we have matched it, and we were done with this problem.